YouTube gang, retention squad, agents and Decepticons, and all y'all, whatever you are, I welcome you. All right, let's get into it. This is going to be a quick one. I'm waiting for the sun to get high enough on this here hilltop. I'm about to do some breath work, some grounding, and a little bit of like qigong exercises that I've been working with. So I wanted to share with you guys a concept that's been very, very useful to me, and it applies very much to this semen retention stuff we're doing. So we could really break down the activity that we do in life into two major categories. All right, and then you could put everything under one of these two categories. You're either working out or you're working in. Now, I guess there could be a spectrum, and maybe there would be somewhere in the middle there where you're kind of doing neither. And to me, that would be the flow state. You know, the situation where you are you're operating at a high level, but your ego's not involved. You know, that this is the state that like Kobe Bryant would get in, or like Steph Curry when he's just draining threes left and right. You know, he's not in a state where he feels like he's really working, yet work is getting done. You know, that's that middle zone flow state. But on two ends of this spectrum, we've got working out. Now that would be like sprinting up a hill. That would be like really heavy squats, you know, interval training, high intensity stuff. Any form of resistance training where you're working up to failure or even close to it is working out, because what we're doing is we're outputting energy from within us outward to accomplish a goal. So from running from point A to point B, or moving a weight, you know, any distance, any length, struggling, exerting yourself, right? These are all forms of working out. So there is the opposite of that, working in, the best example of which would be sleeping. Anytime you are fast asleep and you're in REM mode sleep, the deepest sleep of all, that would be the most profound form of working in, because what's happening is your body is revitalizing itself. You're not expending energy outwards. Your body is in healing, revitalizing mode. You know, so if you have a very deep sleep, you wake up refreshed. You have more energy to work out because you've worked in. But also there are other forms of working in that we can do consciously throughout the day, like what I'm about to go do right now. I'm going to go work in before I go work out. After I work out, I'm going to work in. So I'll explain what that means. So as I'm on this hill, grounding to the earth, with my bare skin touching the earth and the sun touching my bare skin, which is the optimal conditions for me. Obviously, every day we don't have access to the sun necessarily, but you always have access to the earth. And even if it's a cloudy day, there is still solar energy all around you, and you can still tap into that. So we don't need to get too hung up on the weather. But a fully sunny day is, for me, that's when I really, really seem to get the most energy, this etheric energy, this fire energy. I've talked about the elements before, the sun being like a fire element, earth obviously being the earth element, breathing in the air elements, staying very well hydrated. So if you can hydrate yourself first thing in the morning, breathe in air, do some breath work, ground to the earth, and get some sun, some fire energy, you are getting the four main elements. And this whole process, when you bring your conscious intention to it, now you're including the fifth element, the etheric principle, okay? So working in, eating food is another form of working in. We're taking energy from out and bringing it in. When we do these exercises in the sun, the grounding, we're taking energy from the sun and from the earth, and we're bringing it in through the breath consciously, and also through our direct contact with these celestial bodies. All right. So conscious meditation practice, another form of working in, you know, deep breathing, working in, slow movements that leave you with more energy than less, you know, like Tai Chi type movements, you know, Hatha yoga, kind of passive stretching with breath work. These are working in. These are bringing energy into the body. So I think it goes without saying, you guys, when we are retaining our sexual life force energy, when we retain our seed, that is a very profound form of working in. Because instead of expelling out that energy through sexual activity, through masturbation, something like that, that could fall under the category of working out. We're taking energy from inside and we're putting it out. All right. So if we retain that energy, which takes conscious intention and focus and discipline, and we have to balance these things, right? Because semen retention, like sleep, is an extremely profound form of working in. There's a lot of energy there that we are maintaining and sustaining and drawing in, right? Instead of expending it outwards. So this is why when you're on retention, working out becomes very important, because this energy at the root of our bodies, right? Where what are, that's strongly correlated with this fire element. Okay, so the sun, this is why a lot of people notice when you spend more time in the sun, men especially, your testosterone tends to go up, your libido tends to increase, especially if you're in it with minimal clothes on, right? So this fire element, one way to explain that on a metaphysical level is that you're increasing your fire, right? And when you retain your seed, same is true. So that energy, that fire energy at your root, you know how it feels when you're feeling some type of way and you want to be physical. There's this sort of heat. They even say you're in heat, right? Cats and dogs, when they want to do that, they're in heat. It's a heat thing. It's a fire thing. So as men, when we're retaining, we're cultivating that fire, we're increasing that fire within us. That fire turns into drive and focus and motivation. And we can cultivate even more of that from the sun and also from the food we eat. So this fire energy can get out of balance though. So it's not like we can just go fire, fire, fire. Imagine, to take this on a macrocosmic level, if there's too much fire element, what you end up is with an arid, dry desert, where things are very likely to be set on actual fire, right? We don't want that. We want balance and harmony. The most beautiful places in nature, like the beach, or like when you're in the mountains and you're near a waterfall, what you've got going on is you have all of these elements in balance. You've got the wind, you've got the fresh air, you've got the earth element, you've got the sun, the fire element, right? And then you've got the water element. And all of these things, when they're in balance, what we find ourselves in is something like paradise, right? So this paradise can exist internally for us if we cultivate that. So we have to cultivate the balance. So the more you work out, the more you need to work in. The more you work in, the more you need to work out. These things do need to be in some form of balance. And I think it's wise to always leave a little bit of gas in the tank, if you know what I'm saying. You want to work in slightly more than you work out, ideally. And that's going to mean that your workouts are always going to leave you in better condition than they left you. It means like every time you go to the gym, you should be a little bit better than you were the day before. If you're getting worse, that means you're working out too much and you're not working in enough, right? These things have to be balanced. Working in would be like a feminine principle. Working out would be a masculine principle. And when these things are in balance, we're in a sense of harmony. So it's very important to be aware of these things on this journey, right? Because it can turn into aggression or anger or frustration if we're not careful to balance this masculine fire energy with these more feminine principles, with rest. Recuperation, hydration is huge. So I think that's all I have to say on this for now. There's going to be much more on this later. Definitely going to be including more of this content when I branch off and start a more holistic health-based channel, but we are still talking about semen retention being the cultivation of a very fiery energy that needs balance. It needs balance, okay? And when it's balanced, you guys, we become very, very powerful and very stable individuals, very able to deal with whatever life throws at us. All right. And so that's the goal here. We want to be in balance. We want to be happy. We want to be healthy, productive. We want to be able to manifest our dreams. Instead of chasing women, we're chasing our dreams now, you guys. And then the women will start to chase us. Don't worry about that. That's none of your business, none of my business, none of our business. That's God's business, all right? Let God arrange that, because I'll tell you what, my experience, when I try to arrange relationships the way I see fit, they don't tend to work out so well. When I allow God to do that, it tends to work out. All right, so I'll leave you guys with that. Much love. Peace.